Hi everyone, welcome to another video from Cloud9x. In this video, I'm going to share my favorite whiteboard that I use for all my math sessions online. Now, if you're a tutor or a teacher, you would probably have used different whiteboards, Zoom, the inbuilt whiteboard, or Google used to have one called Jamboard back in the day. I think now it's discontinued. Then there's also third-party apps like Miro and Figma. And among all of those, I've tried all of those. And among those, I stumbled upon Whiteboard.chat about 2 years ago. And ever since, it has been a revelation. I never knew, how much a whiteboard can be empowering, how it can help you really deliver effective online sessions until I stumbled upon Whiteboard.chat. So that's why I've decided to make a series of videos, in which this is the first, where I'll be introducing you to it and basically showing you the basic tools and so on. So if you go to whiteboard.chat, this is where you'll land. And so I'll be reviewing the free version. Now, something great about this as well is whiteboard.chat, the paid version, isn't really distinct. The features and functions aren't that different. There's no extra options, but there's just a few perks in the paid version that I'll walk you through in the video. So we'll get started. So if you click on Start Class, it'll open up a fresh blank whiteboard, and we'll set up the name of it to call it Demo Class. Here, notice this is the participants panel. Right now, it's just my logo. That's because I'm the only person in it. As you invite students into it, they'll start appearing here, right? Then notice this sort of banner over here, right? That's empty right now, but from time to time, you'll see ads there. And that's one of the perks of the paid version, where you don't see ads. The ads are not displayed. So that's one of the perks. I can sort of bear with it, but something thoughtful that whiteboard.chat has done is they do not display ads for the students. So even though you see these ads, students of yours will not see it even if you're on the free version. So that's really great. So I can really bear with that on my end. Okay, so just like with any other whiteboard app, you got your usual suspects, the pen tool. There we go. You can adjust the thickness. I feel like it's too much right now. You go to pen thickness on the top bar. Let me set it to maybe 2. Yeah, that's good. Then you've got the line tool, of course. Click and drag. Arrow, curve. One of my favorites is shapes, and they've got this, apart from the basic shapes, they've got a polygon option, which allows me to, if I'm doing my geometry or polygon lesson, I'll sort of, if I want an octagon, I'll just set it up and boom, there we go. I've got myself a regular octagon, precise, accurate diagram of it. So right there. And something I do when I set my whiteboard up is to click on this heart for the tools that I use frequently, which allows me to designate an icon specifically for that, so that I don't have to go through and sweep through the drop down anymore. So so I'm just one click away from my favorite tools out there. You can of course change the color by the pen color option here. Switch it to blue. Now all your options will be in blue, right? I can of course undo, and even then I've got the text tool. You can see again a bunch of variants, right? But what I use more often is the click and type, which, like it says, click. Oops, again too large. So if I want to adjust the font size, I'll go to change font size. Maybe go to about 4. Let's see how it looks like. So I just click and type. Okay, that's octagon. There we go. So and then there are a bunch of other options, but one of my favorites about this whiteboard app is the math editor. A game changer for me, because I deliver advanced math sessions and I really need to be able to write math notations, equations, complicated stuff. And this has a LaTeX inbuilt, so that's really convenient. It'll be for another video though. Now, if you think that students might find this overwhelming, you might find this overwhelming, so many options. So you can go to settings and go to starter mode. All right. When you go to starter mode, notice how all your options for text tool just boils down to 3 options. It makes everything simple. So if your student is a young learner, is new to this, you can just go in starter mode. And this is what the student will see. So notice all of these options on the top bar, there's nothing. It's very simple. You can just change color. That's about it, right? But I just don't want to have that. Now, if you can handle the advanced tools, but you don't want your student to see it, you just go with student see simple tools and boom, just your student gets to work with the simple tools, right? You can even make it very simple so that you only have draw, erase, move, and text. So that's based on what student you're working with. You can adjust that. So I'm going to set it probably not. Okay. Then you've got your eraser, object eraser, pretty obvious. Then you've got a whiteout option, which I don't see what the use is really. It just draws a white layer on top. So perhaps it doesn't really erase the entire object, but kind of helps hiding part of it, which you might use if you want to hide out something from a student temporarily, then probably might come into use. And then what else? So you've got these options, select, where you can select items. Notice every time you select an object, you get the dots. Intuitively, you can resize the objects using those dots. But also the top left dot, which has a dotted circle around it, allows you to rotate. So that's special. So it allows you to rotate any object. Perfect. The move and resize pretty much does the same thing, right? The lasso is also convenient. So instead of having to deal with objects separately, let's say I want to work with this and this together. So I'll just click the lasso and boom, select all of it. Now I can move them as a group. Now they've become a group. So I can do whatever I want to it as a group. Very convenient, right? So the functions you've seen right now, you probably aren't too surprised. They aren't new to you, especially Zoom. I think the inbuilt app has most of these tools that I've just shown you. But keep in mind, this is just, I've introduced you to it. There'll be a set of other videos where I'll be walking you through the more awesome stuff, the really game-changing functions that are available here that help you interact with the student. Apart from this, of course, another thing is notice how my screen, the space available for working on the board extends. I can scroll up and down. So that's how much space I have. Sometimes when I work with young learners, too much space is a problem, right? They sort of get lost on where I am on the board, especially when I'm not sharing my screen. So then what I like to do is go to settings. Now notice by default it's this size, the screen size. Maybe if they're working on an iPad, I'll just select that. And now my space is bounded within these limits. So it's more easy for me to handle. No scrolling involved, so the student clearly sees the room that I'm working in. So that's convenient, especially when you're working with young kids. Okay. So that's just the basics that you can use here. The next video, I'll be looking at more interesting features about this app.